Welcome to the Great Northern Sexcast. Colleen Bertino, how are you doing?
I'm doing spectacular.
Awesome. I'm Kelly Guest, and along for us, with us for the ride for a little while today is Michael Radke. Hey, Michael.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. Guys, you know how much fun it is to try to find news that's related to your industry. Sometimes it finds you.
Yeah. Like I saw an article about a gal in Florida, because of course it's Florida, that was called because she was like hitting her sister with her vibrator and was mad about her boyfriend. And I'm like, only in Florida. Only in Florida.
Oh,
And so, yeah, I mean, Florida has, in fact, I've got one from Florida right here. I've got a whole list, but this one comes to us from, I believe it's the West Palm Beach, I beg your pardon. So,
ooh, fancy.
Yeah, so if you're going to go, we've all had our little fantasies. Anybody ever have any auto sex fantasies? Anybody?
I mean, like
in
auto?
a car.
Oh, okay. So
in a
auto,
car,
I'm thinking
on a car.
on my own,
No.
or auto as an automobile. I'm sorry, I can't.
Automobile.
Yeah, I can only say automobile like they did in 16 Candles. That's just how my brain works.
Oh, my God.
Automobile.
Oh,
Sorry,
God.
okay.
See, you picked up on that. I can't believe that.
Right.
Oh, my God. So, yeah, so a lot of people think it'd be fun in a car, on a car. They've done that. But if you're going to go to a car dealership and get busy on a car, would you go to the Lamborghini or to the Kia? So these people hear this noise, right? About 3 a.m. They're hearing like these moaning sounds. They don't know what it is. If it's an animal on, the loose in the neighborhood or whatever, they call cops. And there's this couple going downtown Bang on top of a Kia Sedona, which was one of the worst selling models of 2014.
Well,
Any
it's got to be
thoughts?
good for something. I'm just wondering, did they dent the hood? I mean, how do you mark that down? Is there a discount for sex dents?
I'm telling you.
Does the painless dent removal work for, aspirins in your car? How does that work?
Well, and
I don't know. It's Florida.
Right next to the mugshots of the two, they showed a picture of this car. It's not the Hotmobile, kids. This looks like the dorkiest station wagon ever. Not hot.
Oh.
Definitely not hot. And one of them is being he got in trouble not only for lewd and lascivious behavior, but also for assaulting an officer because he resisted. I guess he didn't want anybody cuffing his junk. but the officer was taken to the hospital for biohazard exposure treatment. I don't know what that means, and I don't want to.
No. That's those are But maybe the hood was the right height. It could have just been. It had nothing to do with the Kia. It could have just been the right height.
Okay. I'm going for the sports car.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, if you're, especially if you're going to be out. Yeah, I mean, just you could have like your own, Lamborghini poster calendar shot or
to remind you.
Shot. Okay, maybe I keep everything I say here is going to be.
It's going downhill quick.
Yes.
So in other news that's happened, this is in the last couple of weeks. This one comes out of Massachusetts. Now, if you had something that's 10 pounds, 2 ounces come out of you on one day, wouldn't the day before you probably have some idea that there was something in there?
I would think so. 10 pounds?
10 pound, 2 ounce baby. Chick did not know she was pregnant. Went to the hospital with abdominal pain, and they're like, oh, you're pregnant. Oh, I had no idea. And then she squeezed out a 10 pound, 2 ounce. But that is not a tiny kid.
No.
No,
I mean, there was a show, I don't know if it was on Learning Channel or Discovery Channel. All I know is, like I said, when I broke my ankle, I spent 5 weeks watching TV. And this was I didn't know I was pregnant. And I'm like, I'm confounded by this concept.
Absolutely.
It's possible, though.
It happens.
Yeah, yes.
And they call it cryptic pregnancy. And they had a couple doctors quoted in this article, and there's all sorts of reasons. But this girl says, well, I just thought I overate during the holidays. I thought I'd gained, like 10 pounds. But I'm sorry. If you've ever seen a woman that's a day away from delivering, they usually have a little more than the actual baby weight going on there. So,
the kicking and...
Well, and how many freaking cookies did she eat? For the love of God. I'm just saying.
That's just a family that obviously has very good cooks.
Right.
I mean, really, you got to think about it. I mean, if they shot the over 8, there obviously must have been just an amazing array of food. It's Massachusetts. Maybe it's Italian.
And
maybe
is she
there's food.
not regular on her monthly? You know, that would be a sign that
Yes, people that have that, and then they do even say that some of these women that deliver these babies having no idea, they don't really gain that. There's a faction that don't gain, very much weight. So, it is somewhat plausible. But this woman apparently still had periods while she was carrying this 10-pound, 2-ounce girl.
Yeah, my mom said she didn't gain very much, but then again, in the 60s, she still smoked during pregnancy. So
my
I might
God.
explain a few things.
I know, right? Oh, God, just watch Mad Men and just remember how are any of us alive? I mean, those of us born around that period of time, holy moly. So another one, we were talking about college, actually, with Liz, your fabulous event planner and buyer and just woman extraordinaire around here. Mm-hmm. She came to work for Fantasy Gifts right after college.
Correct.
And her job description, seriously, is a dream job for really just about anybody. And she's really good at it. But she was working her way through college. And so was another gal, actually, near Sydney, Australia. I think this is entrepreneurial as hell, quite frankly. She had her little schoolgirl outfit on and did a series of sex show live, one woman and other types of shows and broadcast them on her website. The problem was it was in the University of Newcastle library, the college library.
In the library?
Oh, yeah. She
I
went
heard
and
about that.
and had her own little setup area and was doing this. And it came to the attention of school officials who saw it and they're like, oh, my God, that would be the library. They're dealing with her from an administrative standpoint at this point in time. But the thing about the story that made me pee my pants was that they steam cleaned the books. Can you even imagine being that crew?
I think,
Yeah.
well, maybe it's the same people that clean up after crime scenes or something. But what I find, what they're probably mostly mad at is they weren't getting a cut of whatever she was making.
Oh, hell yeah.
Unless she was paying her tuition.
She was.
Or the fact that she's sitting over there. Maybe they need a few more employees, because if you could manage to do this and not get caught when someone actually finding you doing it, you find it online later, maybe they should hire a few more librarians.
I'm just thinking. But it does crack me up. I think that, judgment completely aside, if you're innovative and can find a way to help put yourself through college, I mean, I kind of commend her, but how hard is it to set up a little set that looks like a library? I mean, did you really have to go violate the library itself?
I wonder what section it was.
Well, and what would Dewey Decimal think?
Yeah, was it the human sexuality section? Was she, she over in the dusty, I mean, was it obviously the section of a library that nobody was ever in? So, yeah.
Or not often enough to catch her live, because they didn't come upon her live. They actually saw it online. Somebody saw it online and ratted her out.
Well, I understand they've redone the University of Minnesota's libraries, but considering the fact that when I went there, I actually had to bring my own light bulb and put it in sections when I was looking for stuff.
Are you serious?
I can't imagine that it's all that. That wouldn't be that difficult for people to be doing stuff in the back of that library. Well, then again, it was 30 years ago.
Well, yeah, and they've probably got all sorts. Well, now with phone video, and I think that's how she was doing her show. I think she was using her phone. Mm-hmm. They got the little mounts for the video.
Right.
I mean, you can do anything. It is just amazing. Now, we don't need even really sophisticated video equipment anymore.
Once again, I'm so glad none of this stuff existed when I was younger.
Yeah.
I had a nice, safe place to be stupid.
And there's no shortage of that.
Nope.
So, guys, I mean, Colleen, you've joked about this in references to other stories that we've talked about. I know you've brought this up before on the Great Northern Sexcast here. And, Michael, I don't know if you were in or not, but the proliferation of 3D printers now, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that is really almost a completely freaky concept. It's almost a little too space age for me at this point. I mean, how do you guys feel about these things?
I have actually looked into it. They're inexpensive enough, but they're not smooth enough, because I am trying to figure out, and maybe someone out there knows how, is that you can bring, I mean, really, if anything that ever gets used usually ends up, you're going to make a picture of your penis. But everything. And I'm trying to figure out if I can get a 3D printer in the office and people could email us pictures, and then we could print out your penis.
Yes.
Okay.
Or another part. But the thing is that it's not quite smooth enough yet. Some of the stuff, there'd be a lot of extra work. Everything we've looked in says we're not quite ready for it yet.
Not quite ready for body parts?
But not, to be... Because if you're going to make a replica of your body part, someone's going to want to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's where we are. And I've seen really great stuff out there. I just can't really... They're just not at that point yet where we can afford one that does something that good. But there's nothing out there that does not get used somehow sexually, whatever innovative idea that it is.
This is a far cry from Xeroxing your butt. Right?
Yeah.
It's advancement.
Technology.
I love it.
Well, it's interesting too that the UPS stores, which those are like, and they advertise this, and I think it's a great marketing. They're like your office, right? You can go in there, you have your little mail PO box, and have an address and all this kind of stuff. Well, get this: with regard to sex and 3D printers. They don't explicitly prohibit customers from using their 3D printers to print out sex toys. Get this. This is some goofy glitch, in how the policy. They do prohibit people from printing out items like weapons or anything that's intellectual property of somebody else. However, you can actually get these templates, these patterns on free downloads and then go and print them out at the UPS store. Isn't that weird?
Wow.
You can. I mean, I don't know how many people are going to be willing to have that printed in public there, and I'm sure some would. But I do know that like I said, if you can print it out, but it's not smooth enough yet. You're going to have to do some work on it if you really wanted to use it, because there are just certain things you do not want ridges on.
Right.
You
right.
do not. And I've seen some of the stuff. You can the Microsoft store at the Mall of America has a 3D printer over in the corner, and they were printing out little things, and I saw the little bumps and ridges and the work that would have been had. You need to do it. Need to do to it. Oh my God!
But it's funny. They give you some cost comparisons. I thought this was pretty interesting. That like if you were going to do an iPhone case, print one of those out, it would cost about $60 to print it. But if you wanted to do a replica, why anybody would want this, unclear. But of like a femur bone, that'd run you like about $325. So this process isn't cheap, but that they're working on it. So they're saying that as a cheap alternative, just get a plaster cast. What are your thoughts on that, guys?
Well, we have there is something. It's a make your own dildo kit. You can get it online. But there's not a lot, and we've done it. People usually buy it when their partner's going overseas. A lot of armed forces folks look for this, and you can, in fact, make your own dildo.
Okay.
And you make a plaster cast, and then it has the, I think there's silicone, there's glow in the dark, there's a bunch of different versions of it that you can pour the mold in, and you can make your own. Make your own dildo. It is possible.
Okay.
And that's going to be a much more functional product.
Okay,
so some of us actually tried it, and the key is to actually get it in the mold before it starts setting, because it sets pretty quick. So
how do you get it out, though? I mean,
it's a little tough, but it works. And the question is trying to keep yourself erect while it's in this mold setting, because
it
was. But they do give you a really great video online where you can actually give you step-by-step details on how to do it. But that was very popular when people are going overseas to into the Army or whatever. Their girls would come in and get a clone a kit, and have part of their man at home.
That actually, what if I got that for Valentine's Day from my boyfriend? I would absolutely love it. I think that's hilarious. Not that I need it. I would want it. I'd put it on the nightstand. I mean, it'd be part of the decor, and then just hide it when the nieces and nephews come over, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that is available on our partner website. You can find it there at fantasygiftsmn.com.
Okay, and what's it called?
Clone a Willy.
Clone a Willy. Who knew? I learn something new every day.
Right.
So, did you guys see recently it's kind of a scary story, actually, but there was a convention down in Chicago where they had basically the equivalent of a Legionnaires sort of outbreak. It was the furry convention. Did you hear about that?
I did not.
Chlorine outbreak. Someone purposely.
Okay, did they? Yeah.
Purposely let go some chlorine in the area, and the whole furry convention had to go across the street to a dog show.
Right. So I did not know what furries were before this? Colleen, I suspect you did.
Yeah, there's a good Google for you,
Yeah.
which is different than plushies.
Okay. Well, give us a quick definition of a furry, and then a plushie, and then we'll continue.
Okay, furries are folks that create a life-size, usually costume of an animated character. It could be a dog, it could be a cat, it could be a fox, it could be a fantasy character. It's a full sort of body costume.
Yep.
It's a plush costume, and they're furries, and they have their alter egos. And this is a whole convention for these folks that enjoy dressing up this way. It's less of a, I mean, not that folks may or may not have sex while wearing the costumes, but it's much more of about a fantasy thing. But of course, the majority of human beings out there, if they see anything different, immediately think that it has to be sexual. Now, plushies, on the other hand, are folks that will, in fact, have a stuffed animal and create an opening in order to have sex with it. That one is sexual.
Okay. Well, in my reaction to this, though, I mean, when I first saw it, and you're right, I went straight down that path when I saw the furry convention. But the funniest thing I think that came out, or one of the funniest things, is I don't know if you guys have ever watched Morning Joe. It's one of the weekday news programs on MSNBC, I think it is. And there's a female anchor named Mika Brzezinski.
Okay.
Do you know who she is?
I'm familiar with the name.
Blonde, yeah. She's whatever. Well, this story pops up, and if you've ever done, broadcasting or TV, it's always exciting when the producers didn't tell you what's coming and they just spring it on you. And here she is on TV, and she says, "Well, what's a furry?" I mean, totally innocently, and she's looking around, and somebody whispers it to her, and she loses it, right? And then she sees the tape, and she literally walks off the set. I mean, it's one of the best things that I've seen in a while, because it's like I have been there, and tried to keep my act together at a time where you're just like, are you fucking kidding me? People actually do this stuff. Well, I bring it up in the context today of the great Northern Sexcast, because I'm sorry, this is not funny, but it's so funny.
Okay.
Grandma's got her 3-year-old granddaughter, and this is over in Dawlish, England, and they were the little girl had to tinkle, and so Grandma goes to walk her. They open up the door to, it was one of those that it's like it could be male or female. It's just a one, kind of like Caribou has. Open the door, and there's Tigger fucking his girlfriend over the sink. Okay.
Tigger. Bouncy, fun. Okay.
Yeah. And the guy freaked out, turned around and slammed the door. And this is the sad part. Caught the little girl's fingers in the door. So she got like actually kind of injured from this. Yeah. So that's not funny. But so they look to be approximately in their 30s, said Grandma. And this is a disgusting act and in a baby changing room nonetheless.
Does it?
Who does that?
Who does? Okay, so you're in like a public area.
Yes.
You're randomly dressed as Tigger, and you decide right then you need to have sex.
Pretty much.
And then you can't. Obviously, they really needed it because they didn't even lock the door. But I'm not like the Tigger. I mean, so the woman was not dressed as anything.
And no, she was just naked chick getting banged. Yeah.
By Tigger.
By Tigger. I'm sorry, but that just wouldn't turn my crank.
No, I'm glad that the child was, well, okay, the finger thing she's going to remember, but at least she's 3. Because if you had been like 5 or 6, that's not going anywhere. That's staying, that is staying with you.
No,
and that is going to make a visit to Disney in the future very, very
traumatic.
wrong. Yes.
Very traumatic. I would like to posit that she will not per se remember the incident. She'll just have a severe aversion to Winnie the Pooh and Friends.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. So a couple other things. And Michael, I'm glad you're here because this is going to pull in to the next stuff that we want to talk about. We want to talk a little fetish. We want to talk a little bit about what's going on in the GLBT world and all of that sort of thing. Wow. Have you guys ever heard of Launchpad?
Launchpad.
Yeah. It's have you heard of the Fleshlight?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We actually sold quite a few of those.
Okay. So describe what a Fleshlight is quick for the audience.
It's a masturbator that's shaped, well, it's like a flashlight shaped masturbator.
Okay. Yep.
But you can get them in different styles, different porn stars and stuff like that. But it's very popular.
Yeah. A plastic tube, open it up, and instead of flashlight, it is a body part
Okay.
that you can insert.
A receptacle for body parts. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, the launch pad is an iPad case that allows a man to attach his fleshlight to an iPad so that he can simulate sex with whomever or whatever is on the screen.
It doesn't seem unreasonable.
Yeah.
So now you've got but do we have to bring our electronics everywhere into everything we do? Seriously?
You definitely want a screen cover.
Yes.
Yeah, I would think so. No, it's technology, and it's always going to be. If you can figure out how to have an orgasm with it, someone's going to do it.
That's right.
That's going through there. It's important. Whatever it takes. And going through there, because there's been there's masturbators that come with DVDs. There's masturbators that's come with thumb drives.
That sounds wrong.
The current WeVibe has a program that someone from a distance can go in, and if you're in different places, and your partner can program what the pulsations are going to be, what the vibrations are going to be.
Okay.
There is
now. Are you Skyping while this is going on, or what?
Yeah, you could.
Can,
you could.
Okay. Oh my.
There's been there's a vibrator out there that we can special order called that will pick up if, let's say, you're wearing out to a bar and you're going dancing, it will pick up the bass of the music that's playing and vibrate along with that.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So there is a lot.
Technology can be a lot of fun.
What's it called? Like the Clubby?
I believe it's the company that makes it is Oh My Bod.
Oh my God!
And
I like it.
It is a very specialty product. It's not particularly the most inexpensive, and so it is a special order item for us.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So let me just get one more little tiny piece of clarification there with regard to the beat of the music. Where exactly is this thing positioned?
It is in your panties.
It attaches to?
It is a small clip-on or a harness vibrator that Oh. So you sort of can have vibrating panties to the music.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, then, the last one I want to bring up with you because I want to see if I can get a rise out of either of you. So far, I've been relatively unsuccessful and once again educated far beyond what I ever would have expected today. The Gaga. Have you guys heard of that?
Other than...
Lady? Not lady.
Yeah.
No, this is really strange. This is a vibrator that comes with a camera lens and a light so that users can see inside whatever orifice the device is being inserted into, and it will allow you to download the film.
That probably would be a little bit more than pretty much every customer we've ever had would want. But that doesn't mean somebody doesn't want it. I can't... that's a little bit more... gynecological.
See, that's what I thought. There's
some things that should just not be seen.
Well, and what's it going to look like anyway? I mean, it's like if you didn't know what it was, would you know what you're looking at? You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, I understand that there's a lot of research where they want to see what's happening because people know very little about sex. They really do, the actual science of sex.
Okay.
And I can see, this probably started out as a research tool, and someone figured out how to make it into a fetish tool.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and have you guys watched the Showtime series Masters of Sex at all?
I've seen a few of the episodes.
I got rid of cable because they annoyed me.
Okay, no, and I'm with you, honey. I'm so that way. It's a really good series. We've watched every single episode, and the actors are terrific. But the actual story of these two and what they were up against when they began to literally study the science of sex, Colleen, and at the time, and they had this giant. You remember Ulysses? Did you see any of those?
Very few episodes.
Well, it is a giant, I guess it's supposed to be a vibrator or a dildo or whatever, and it didn't look like anything I would want anywhere near anything open of mine. It just looked very hard and cold and whatever, but they were able to film things and gauge reactions. And would you say that we're any better off now in the 2000 teens than we were 15, 20, 30 years ago?
No. When it comes to the research and stuff like that, no one funds any of that research, which I find fascinating, considering the fact that human beings are sexual human beings. I mean, we recreate their sex knowing what's going on with the body, and I don't care whether you have a cold or whether you're having an orgasm. I think it's important that folks know what's going on. But if you think you're going to get any politician to, okay, and I don't care what side of the aisle are on, okay, sex research. That's a non-starter right there.
And it's really kind of too bad too, because so many of the things that politicians, without going into politics, one party or another, but so many things that they, talk about doing well-being of their, constituents and things like that, yet they won't touch something that could be controversial that really does facilitate that in some capacity. It's ironic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
A person's sexual health is just as important as any other part of their health. It really is.
Because as much as we try to admit that it doesn't exist, it really does. So speaking of that, since they won't fund the type of research that you think is important, Colleen, let's talk about a little anecdotal research, if you don't mind. Sex apps are proliferating like wildfire out there for smartphones. Are you guys familiar with any of the ones that are out there right now?
I'm not really aware of any of the apps that do anything except for like our WeVibe. It's a Bluetooth app that controls the WeVibe. I do know there is like dating sites just popping up everywhere.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really aware of
No,
too many.
a lot of it that probably has to do with the fact that both of us are in like really good long-term relationships. So that's probably why. But the app part of it, it is going to be more, and I do need to do more research into what's going on there. I don't know if you found any particular ones that stuck out there, but it's going to be hard. That's going to be interesting coming up in your phone bill if you're paying for that app.
Yeah, no, the ones I'm actually referring to, because I saw a story that I found to be pretty sobering, actually. It's really more these apps that they're hookup apps, so these are, free apps and whatever. And, we go through periods of time, where, that was a particularly promiscuous period of time. I don't know a time in world history that wasn't. You could go back to the Borgias. The Pope, for the love of God, was screwing everything in sight back then. So, this is not new, but one thing that's concerning is they're talking about proliferation of a spike in STDs because of this. Have you guys heard any of the stories? I do know some of the stories I've seen are actually have to do with the folks that we would consider senior citizens, because a lot of them who were in long-term relationships for years, they're now older and dating, and they're at this point they're like they're not as concerned about pregnancies or stuff like that, but they're not realizing that there's been like chlamydia and things going through senior communities because they're just not wearing condoms. They don't realize what's going on because it's just not something that was ever on their mindset. Right.
You've got every, I don't think there's anyone under 30 that doesn't understand a condom. Even though what happens is that everybody uses protection for a while, it goes down, you don't hear about it in the news, and then people stop using them, and then it goes back up again. And so there's little HPV has gone down because of a vaccination, but certain other ones are going up. And chlamydia is a big one because it doesn't have symptoms.
Yeah.
And so you get these spikes in areas, and it just, when people stop talking, it happens again. You just don't think it can happen to you because it really is, once again, about education.
So how ironic is this, Michael? Here now we're finding ourselves, there's all this new technology that everybody's using to hook up, and now we have to go talk to our parents. And we have to give them the little STD talk.
Right. And I think it's big on the younger people too, because AIDS has already been out there, so nobody's scared anymore. Because when my younger age, AIDS and HIV is just coming out, so everybody was fearful of getting AIDS.
Yeah, well, it was a death sentence.
It was, but now it's not no more. So more younger people are not using condoms or anything because there is something that's going to, keep them healthy, keep them safe. So they're not even using condoms because they just don't care anymore.
What an interesting angle, Colleen, though, that it's going, through the older community. Because to your point, Michael, when AIDS came out, a lot of these people were married, and so they thought that it didn't really affect them until now they're loose and single. At a more advanced
and now they're
stage.
In the dating scene. And,
wow.
And now they have to be fearful.
That is unbelievable. So, this, guys, I went on Craigslist, and I don't know if this was a good idea or not, but wow. I sold, when I consolidated my household, I sold a whole bunch of, rugs and chairs and everything else. There's a lot of other stuff that's not rugs and chairs on there. Have you ever taken a peek?
No. my brain goes in so many different places, and all of them end in ew.
Yeah.
Well, and you probably,
But then again, I have a weird brain.
Probably best to stay away because you can't unsee some of this. Is what I'm saying. When I went to look on it, and it got me thinking about how nice Fantasy Gifts is, and there's definitely, because there's a few places around town that are absolutely not nice, but the seedier past of the stores, and I'm just wondering if the greater acceptance of a more conventional, classy operation like yours, if you think that it's promoting healthier habits for people out there at large, not just with regard to STDs, but sexuality.
Oh, definitely. Because if you can run an errand and if you're running to get the toilet paper and running to get the dog food, and then you're stopping by to pick up the lube you want or a brand new vibrator, it just means that it's become that you're like I mentioned before, that your sexual health is just part. It's not a part of your life. It's not a separate thing. It is. And that's what I really like about the stores, is that it's not something to be freaked out about. I mean, one of the things we did years ago is that we don't have a back room, because I think a back room implies that there's something wrong with it.
Oh, yeah.
And there is nothing wrong with it. Now, it's still difficult to get leases and to open up stores because the laws have not caught up with common sense or what's going on. But it is what it is that way. But it has me. I just love the fact that my dad figured this out years ago, that people just want a good place to buy something.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I went at the goading, I guess you should say, of one of my boyfriend's store employees, who's a younger single guy. Who told me, just if you're going to do the Great Northern Sexcast, you need to just check out some of the stuff that's going on Craigslist. And, I didn't know what a glory hole was. Oh. And he dragged me on this downtown Minneapolis chase looking for supposedly one that existed in this particular store. And it was an interesting experience. We didn't find it, but the fact that people are open and that this is not an unusual thing. It's out there and it's happening. And this goes back to the STD thing. But we did go into this one bookstore, so to speak, that it absolutely had a back room and a basement. And you know what? If somebody stumbles into there without any experience about this stuff, I think it sets everybody and everything back. Not only what you guys have worked for, like really far, because that place was disgusting. And I'm tough.
Yeah, they're different businesses. I mean, there might be a few items that we sell the same, but you've got on-site entertainment versus bringing something home. I mean, it really, and everything has its place, because some people just don't have a safe place to explore their sexuality, and if they've got you wish they did, that they didn't have to do stuff like Anonymous or this or that. But until they are more confident with themselves, I think places like glory holes and stuff are going to exist. I mean, I figured I didn't know what that was until we had a employee who explained it or brought it up, and it was like, I'm like, what is this? And this was and he was pointing out the spots at the University of Minnesota, and then that's when it finally clicked onto me that when I was 19 years old, do you guys remember a place called Donaldson's?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Department store that doesn't exist anymore. I worked in the China department. And we were pulled aside one day, and we were asked to monitor how long gentlemen were staying in the men's room.
Okay.
I'm like, but I didn't know why.
You sell bone china, damn it.
I'm like, well, how long should someone stay in a men's room? That particular men's room had become a hangout for anonymous sex. And it was just funny, because I'm like, but I don't know how long you're supposed to stay. But so that's where, so when I ended up, like I said, so that made sense. I mean, they didn't really give us a lot of explanation. They just said, just if someone stays in there too long, tell security. I'm like, okay. And it wasn't until several years later when I was talking to one of the employees, and he was, who was younger and stuff like that. I'm like, oh. You're like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah, you know, and on the Craigslist stuff, I kind of checked a couple different categories. I was just kind of looking for, you know, just things that connected to the stories in the news and things like that. And one area I was really shocked. It was a men seeking women kind of thing. And the first 5 ads that were there were married men that were looking for a mistress, ongoing, long term, and don't want to change my situation or yours, but they were looking for certain things. Now, one of them, though, described a fantasy that he had as part of this ongoing mistress that he wanted. He wanted a weekly deal where he came over, brings her breakfast, and then she gives him a list of chores to do. And it could be anything from the laundry to cleaning the kitchen to scrubbing the floors or whatever. And then it was supposed to lead to sex. But he's willing to do a fair amount of housework, it sounds like. So that was one guy. And then there's another guy that has this complete candle fetish. But the theme that ran through here was all of these bored married guys that, you know, for whatever reason don't want to get divorced. I'm guessing most of it's monetary because clearly they're willing to go there, you know, in this other way. And I guess I would ask, you know, what would you have for the bored married guy at Fantasy Gifts? Because there has to be something that you could at least, before you go to this, you know what I mean?
Well, we do carry an awful lot of hand masturbators if you want something that feels different.
Okay.
That way. Or that sort of item. But I just find it, you know, fascinating, too, that the first ones you found that were guys, because from what I've been reading, the understanding is that the wives are out there doing the exact same thing.
Oh, sure.
But one of these points, it's going to end up one of those bad pina colada songs where they're going to run into each other.
Right. You should run into each other's ads.
Oh.
But we do have quite a few of, but a lot of times it sounds like, at least from the guy that wants to do the housework chores, that it has less to do with sex, and it probably has to do with communication.
Yeah. Well, you hear that in interviews with prostitutes all the time, male and female, that people, you know, really, they just want to talk. But, you know, when I did read some of the ads from women, and the majority of the ones that I saw were single women, but, you know, theirs were all about romance, whereas the guys wanted to tie it all back to something sexual. I mean, they might start out with some sort of a fantasy, but they went back. So I guess I guess I wanted a recommendation from both of you, because Michael, you said you worked with, you know, heaps of women in the stores over the years.
Right.
So she's waiting for Mr. Right. What would you buy what would you give as the ultimate recommendation for a single woman?
For a single woman?
Yeah. Biding time until Mr. Right shows up.
Probably Bob, a battery operated boyfriend, you know, just keep you occupied until the right guy comes along. And then you can, you know, try different sizes, see what you're looking for, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, you got the, you know, you can have an external vibrator, an internal vibrator, a combination of the two. A lot of those are called dual stimulators, or the traditional rabbit vibe.
Rabbit.
Oh yeah,
I
know. I got a rabbit.
And and they're, like I said, not all of them have to be expensive. Some of them are less expensive. You may not get them to be waterproof.
Okay.
Or something like that. And there's certainly the less expensive ones aren't going to be rechargeable.
Right.
You're going through there. But just a very simple vibrator, because if you just give your wrist a break.
Even a bullet would even, you know, a little external clitoris, you know, that would even take care of the job.
Tiny little vibe.
Tiny little bullet. We have discreet bullets. We have the Penthouse lipstick vibe.
Oh,
it's very nice. A little sleek, and you know, it looks like a little lipstick.
Okay.
So it's very discreet, so you can go while you're at work into the bathroom and take care of yourself real quick.
And just get right on back to work.
Yeah,
I like that.
Little tension relief.
In the descriptions, I mean, they're you know, with the advent of, you know, and the advancement, I should say, really, of texting and all this kind of stuff, you know, we're using acronyms right and left and everything else. So when I was reading some of these ads, I didn't even look at some of them because I couldn't figure out what the letters meant. But there was one, I don't know if you know this, Michael. It was GLBT, and then a Q. Mm-hmm. What's the Q?
Questioning.
Okay, what is it?
So people that are still questioning their you know, preference.
Okay.
And we all do that at a certain time of our lives. I remember when I was younger, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted sexually. So from 16 to 18, I had both a boyfriend and a girlfriend.
Okay.
They both knew about each other and everything. It's just I had to figure out what I wanted for the rest of my life.
Okay.
So I tried both ways, and I found that men were a lot more appealing to me. So those are just more questioning. You know, we got your lesbians, gays, transgenders, and then we have the questions that are still unsure of what they want to do.
Okay. Now, there was a couple other letters out there. Can you think of anything? I'm not recalling them all. Are there any other letters that you can translate for us?
There's LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning, but I didn't think there was
anything besides.
I think one of the newest terms out there is that when people are trying to identify, when someone's, you got the transgender, they've come up with the term cis. And cis is, like myself, I would consider myself cis because I was born female and I am attracted to the opposite sex. So when they talk about a cisgender, that's what they talk about because they're trying not to use the word normal or ordinary or something like that. So that's probably one of the newest terms out there that I will see in a lot of reading that I do is that someone will identify as cisgender.
Oh,
yeah.
See, that's the one on me. I didn't even know about
because
the
if you
cisgender.
because if you use that, because you don't want to imply that a traditional, because there's a word there that's fraught with meaning, or heterosexual, or this or that. These are all fraught with other people being otherness.
Oh, okay.
And so you're trying not to do otherness, and I think that's the biggest thing.
Yes, everybody's trying to be correct in all their analogies of people and everything.
So it's a way of describing, using articles and stuff like that. But and transgender people are, and questioning because people, probably Q and cis are probably the newest terms.
Okay, so I learned some. I knew I was going to learn something today. So I saw an article. Actually, it was a blog post. Michael, it cracked me up. It said. The headline was "Gay men are friends, not accessories," and it was this guy, a gay blogger, talking about what we talked about on your last segment when you were on a couple weeks ago with us about there's this kinship between gay men and female friends and everything else, but this guy felt he was being objectified. Have you ever felt that way?
I haven't. No, I haven't felt objectified. I feel that we get along great. You want to be around people that you're going to have fun with and everything. I don't ever feel myself as an accessory.
Okay.
I'm the fun one everybody wants to hang out with and be part of.
I think he was just having a particularly bitter moment, I think. But it was pretty funny. I mean, the way he wrote it was very snarky and very humorous. And I'm like, I could see how you could feel that way.
Yes, but
Well, if someone only gets called for one, only when they don't have someone to go dancing with. I'm going to run right down stereotype line.
Okay,
lane here. But if you only get called when you want to go dancing, or your partner won't go shopping with you, or stuff like that.
He specifically mentioned those two things.
I can. Yep. I mean, like I said, I didn't read the article, but I can sort of understand where he's going. If they're not involved, if someone's not involved in your everyday life, I can see where you might consider it accessory. But then again, I have friends that I do this with, and I have friends that I do this with, and I have friends that I do this with. I don't know if everyone does everything. So maybe he was getting annoyed. Then again, that person could probably just call up and say, "Hey, let's go get dinner."
Yeah.
If they're not, if you're always waiting for someone else to initiate. It's probably going to be the same thing, and I don't care who you are.
Well, he said he kind of prefaced what he began to say with saying, when women would say to him, do say to him, "Oh, you would be so great to go shopping with," speaking of him almost as outside of himself in the moment, and that would suck. I mean, I wouldn't like that either. But if you are the friend to hang out with, and I am going to spring one on you, and let's see if I can shock the room for once. So speaking of gay friends, my next door neighbors, great buddies of mine, they just got married this last year too. And they've been together for 25 years. So boy, did they have a long wait, those two. Right. Went over because we just haven't seen each other, and having a glass of wine and sitting there catching up on stuff. And they were asking me about the Great Northern Sexcast, and they're the ones who when my boyfriend and I have friends up at our lake cabin that live also down here in Minneapolis, but they are lesbians and they have a cabin on the other lake, and we hang around. They love to torture our heterosexual male friends, but we do dinners at their place. They come to our, we hang out. They are just absolutely fun. Well, we had this huge dinner soiree planned last fall. And the lesbian said that Carl had to dress up for them to cook. We were doing filet mignon and crab. I mean, this was a big hoo-ha kind of thing. Nice. So he's like, "What do I wear to cook for the lesbians?" I'm like, "Dude, you are so on your own." Well, come the gay neighbors. They brought over leather chaps that were in his size, and they were nice. I mean, these were really expensive ones. They brought over these fabulous chaps, and that he could wear with shorts, and this really nice leather harness. That just it made a really cute outfit. Wouldn't do it. I got him to put it on, but then that was it. He goes, no, I can't stand outside at a barbecue, and so he settled on the Plan B outfit that they brought, which was an apron of a bikini body, a female bikini body. So he wore that. But so we were laughing and talking about the Sexcast and whatever, and they asked me if I'd ever heard of sounding.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Have you?
Yeah.
Have I ever going to come up with anything you two haven't heard of? Gosh darn it.
No, actually, it's been very popular. We do sell several kits.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah, most of them are, once again, this is something that is a specialty, and it is a special order.
Okay.
Because
we do have a few at our stores, too. At my Burnsville location, we have a whole sounding kit.
Really?
Yes, we do have that, and at my Coon Rapids location, too. It comes in a nice little leather case, and it's got like 7 to 8 sounding bars in it. Long, little, skinny metal bars that go into your urethra. And then
This is some of the items that I'm going to be adding in when I get back from the trip, because people want what they want.
Right.
And so it's not going to be something that you're going to have an incredible array of. But, I mean, body parts are sensitive. Penises are sensitive. Mm-hmm. And so you're talking about, sounding, inserting usually the stainless steel or stainless steel rod.
Yep.
And then stimulating that. And that is what sounding is. And everybody has different things that interest them. I mean, I'm like, I had to figure out. I mean, I didn't know what it was until actually not that long ago. I mean, I had heard about it, but a lot of the stuff wasn't as accessible. But now I've got places I can get it. We've had people asking about it, and so we're trying to get it in.
Oh. Come on up on your mic. Yeah.
We have a few options at our Minneapolis store as well with the sounding kit as well. We also have this new toy. It's called the Meat Cleaver.
Oh, God.
And that's scary as it sounds.
Is it?
It is.
Okay.
It goes around the head of your penis, and 2 little spikes go into your hole.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
And you pull your hole apart. It looks like a meat cleaver.
Oh.
And it's selling.
It's selling.
It's selling. We had to actually re-up on it because it sold within the first week.
You're kidding.
People want this stuff. I'm telling you.
So would you say that this is kind of getting, well, not the sounding, not so much, but that almost is like a kind of a masochism thing, isn't it? A little bit.
A lot of it has to do with dominant and submissives,
fetish
and stuff like that. And there are a lot of folks, I mean, that just need some. I guess it would be just some place where they don't have to make a decision. A lot of the times the decisions are made for them. They may make a lot of decisions during the day, and then when they get home, they don't want to make any decisions. And so I think.
It could be used in a role-playing bondage, One can be a submissive top and,
Some people switch
leash,
back and
collar.
forth. It depends what you're in the mood for that day.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So I think it's really interesting how I've read articles, and you guys can confirm this from experience or not, but that a lot of the men who like to be submissive are often quite powerful. And it's a way of shedding the responsibilities that they normally shoulder and taking on something completely different. Have you found that to be true in any of your experience with customers?
That when someone is coming in, I think the closest thing I have to say is that when someone is coming in and buying something, a lot of times you can tell that they've been sent in on a mission because they may not, they may not be sure, but they were told, they'll have a list and they were told to get this, this, and this, and sometimes someone will be sitting out in the car waiting for them, and it's just part of the day where they're doing a lot of stuff. When it can be men or women, but I do think that what you read in the studies are right, is that they need somewhere where they're not thinking.
Yeah,
where they're not in control.
Where they're not in control.
Yeah,
because they're exhausted. Being in control a lot, which is why you tend to, think of why there's a lot of dominatrix out there.
Yeah,
and it is, a lot of times it's not about sex.
Right.
Yeah, It's not, they're separate things.
Interesting.
Yeah, which is going to be, interesting because, I mean, when sort of bring it back to the movie that's coming out in a couple of weeks, is the fact that in the U.S., you cannot actually show someone tied up having sex.
Really?
Really, yeah. That has been considered obscene.
Yes.
So I'll be curious to see if there's one thing that 50 Shades of movie could get, would be an editing award. Because they're going to have to do a lot of editing. But then, I think that's about, people want these movies, but they don't exist.
Not even in the porn categories?
No. No, you'll see movies of people tied up, but no one's tied up having sex.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Sex trivia of the week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so Michael, I want to, before we wrap up today, and I really appreciate you joining us once again. I'm just wondering, I know that Tara's out scouring this show for new and fabulous things. Just wondering if you've come across anything of note with regards that our audience here at the Great Northern Sexcast would be interested in this week. Any GLBT news? Anything going on?
Not really. I know everybody's on board on getting more of the states. So I know Florida just, got on board with the same-sex marriage and everything. So no, that's still big news. We're still trying to get everybody on board on the same-sex marriage. South Dakota, yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that day was going to come. So we only have a few more to go. But yeah, that's a big one. Get everybody to the same equal rights to be able to get married and be who they want.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about that. I'm really excited about Florida because someday in my future, I want to live there. So I wanted to live where I can actually be appreciated as my husband,
Right, and legally
be married.
And that's long after I retire.
Right,
so
right.
You guys know.
Is there a pecking order of retirement around here?
Well,
I need these guys.
Or a pecker order? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a big happy family here. So when anybody talks about ever leaving.
Yeah, we're cutting out a little. So when anybody ever talks about leaving, I'm sorry, you were saying.
Colleen will be like, only when I leave, it's like, we're a big happy family here.
Awesome. Well, Michael, we appreciate you coming back. Are you going to come back on one of our up-and-coming shows?
I would be happy to. This has been a blast.
We just a quick note. We've talked about doing this, and I want to know if we can give a little teaser and update. Is there a chance that we might be getting to do something at the Gay 90s at some point in the future?
There is hopefully a chance. I'm still trying to get a hold of the manager at the 90s, but there is supposed to be a RuPaul drag show there. I think it's probably some of the old contestants from the RuPaul show. Okay. So they're supposed to be having a show there. So we're thinking, I'm still trying to, get everything worked out, but we might be having a male fashion show. With some of our male underwear and lingerie. So we're still working the works on that. So
keep us posted.
We will.
Because, Colleen, if in fact this comes to fruition, we are so there.
Oh, yeah.
I want to be backstage.
That could be a lot of fun. We had a fashion show, and I was out of town for it.
Yes.
That did so well at our downtown store a while ago. When what was the company?
It was an Andrew Christian. I put on an Andrew Christian fashion show at our Minneapolis store, and I got to pick out the models, and that was amazing.
Was it fun?
It was a lot of fun. It's like, my job was so difficult. Yeah, picking out the models, having to do a little runway walk for me.
Just let's just see how you do that. Oh, wait, one more time. Okay, wait, no, could you turn that way? Okay, thank you.
Now, if you take your shirt off, I got to see what I'm working with here.
Right.
So, so that was a lot of fun. So we put that together, and we had a really good turnout. It was really nice. It was for Andrew Christian, and we even sent the video to them and everything. So
very cool.
Great. We had a photographer there taking some pictures. I was the MC and stuff, so I did pretty good, I think.
Oh, I'm sure you would.
We set up the lights and everything. Oh, it was just amazing how we did it.
All right, well, you have got to keep us posted if you have any of this on the horizon coming up as well.
I'm always trying to plan on something. It's like all these fun events, especially when you get guys in slinky underwear that you can't miss.
Well, no, I want to go.
No, and the underwear is really sexy, and the guys are sexy, so it's all good.
It's all good.
It was their blow video. They were doing a blow video for Andrew Christian, and so we did it all in neon and glowing the dark. It's pretty amazing.
Well, now if you get the sparkly butt plugs in,
there you go. Right?
You get sparkly glow in the butt plugs, but we'll just set those up on the side.
I think you should accessorize with them. I'm just saying. I don't know.
Right. Little accessories.
Little accessories. Well, guys, Michael Radke and Colleen Bertino will be back sexcasting again in another week. We sure appreciate your joining us, and we look forward to being back together next week.
Great.